Would be great, but I'm happy with what I've done thus far. There's 140 some people that didn't make it this far, and I'm just going to go out, and if I catch them, fine. If I don't, you know, I'm not trying to be upset. Not going to try to turn my world upside down.
It's a lot of strategy in this tournament, and that's what makes it different. That's what makes it unique. You're not out there to try to see what you can catch every day. You just try to catch enough to get you by to that last day, and the last day is when you got to go for it. But, you know, you may be like me, get a little bit behind yesterday, and then you have to go out and catch them. And it's a strategy tournament. There's no doubt about it.
I guess having a camera boat on you all day, you know, is going to be the deal. Getting it on TV live, and that's what, you know, people want to see. This FLW is the biggest thing that ever happened in bass fishing right now. I mean, it's the biggest thing that's happened in the last 10 years in bass fishing, and I hope it, you know, pushes everything forward so we can get some money in this sport like they got in other sports.
Well, you know, $100,000, I mean, man, that's mind-boggling. I mean, whoever thought, I know back when I started bass fishing, I never dreamed that we'd be fishing for $100,000.
Until you catch them, it really doesn't make any difference.
We got the FLW tour. I mean, man, it's great. I just feel fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to win $100,000.
Until you catch them, it really doesn't make any difference.
And I'm going to be fishing for the, you know, to get in that top 5, so I'll have a shot at that 100,000. I like the concept where you go back to 0, you know, because you guys got to do it both days.
Until you catch them, it really doesn't make any difference.
Well, those are just some of the anglers who've qualified to fish day number 3 here on this very important, really milestone event on our FLW Tour. Here, another couple of qualifiers as well. Denny Brower, the pro, his amateur partner, Ed Chambers. And from those comments, you could probably tell why this is so important. This is the very first Forest Wood Open, the richest event in tournament bass fishing. $100,000 to the winner, $40,000 for second place, all the way through a total purse over $350,000. So much then for the relaxation aspect of the fishing here. It's all happening on Lake Kerr, a lake known for really not big fish, but plenty of them. And they've been caught at just about every depth on all kinds of lures, so it's going to take a lot of concentration, a lot of creativity on the part of these anglers. And when it's all over, we'll have a champion who's mentally tough, that's for sure, maybe a little bit lucky, and certainly well rewarded. But we got a lot of great fishing to come. Let's get started with the Forest Wood Open, this week's stop on the FLW Tour.
A lot of bait fish in the area, and there's a little drop right in front of us, and there's some stumps on it. And bass seem to be schooled up right in this area, taking on these shad.
We're going to have lessons in crankbait fishing today, among other things. And on today's show, we'll find out who among the 10 pros still with us are going to make it to the finals. There'll only be 5 of them. Plus, we'll find out who our amateur winner is going to be. And that's Joel Richardson on the trolling motor here. He was the top qualifying pro, 33 pounds, 12 ounces. His partner in the back, Brian Kingsley, brought in 7 pounds, 9 ounces on the first qualifying day. And I tell you what, let's take a look at his second day's weigh-in, the day that put him on top.
Here comes a tremendous springer today on the amateur side. Brian Kingsley from Lawrence, Kansas, 7'9" yesterday, and he has got a 5 bass limit today. 5. You're going to be fishing tomorrow.
I think so.
Well, that's what we said yesterday, right? Did we tell everybody I'm going to be there tomorrow?
No.
We did. I thought we did.
I think I'm here now.
All right, what about tomorrow? You're here tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to be fishing for $15,000 in the back, and maybe the number 1 pro or the number 2 pro in the back of that boat. Can you go out and catch enough fish for that $15,000?
I'm going to try my best.
Try his very best. A 5 bass limit here, 13 pounds. We'll make sure we get it just right. 13 pounds, 2 ounces, 13.2 on the amateur side.
Well, what you just saw there, of course, was action from day number 2 of this Forest Wood Open. Jerry McKinnis is going to be along a little bit later to help us sort it out here on day number 3. And I tell you what, we will definitely need some help. This is getting kind of complicated because these fishermen, they're catching fish in so many different ways, in so many different places. Some of them be fishing shallow water. Will they be fishing deep water? Yes, some of them will. Will they be fishing crankbaits, or will they be fishing Carolina rigs? Really complicated. As we mentioned before, it's going to take a lot of thinking, a lot of creativity, and a great game plan to win this thing. Now, who we're watching here is the pro Bob Williams. He's with his amateur partner there, Tony Gossett, Anthony Gossett Jr., and they think the fish are in the deep water. Right now they're using a Carolina rig, but others, hey, they've got their own styles. They've got their own places picked out as well. And some of those hot spots take some maneuvering to get to, as in the case of the pro, Mike Terry.
Easy. Easy. She'll make it, but we may have to rock the back, you know what I mean? We're going to make it. But we may have to rock the back every time. Like that right there.
Well, this time of year, I usually can catch them on a Carolina rig pretty good, better than anything else, so I'm going to kind of stick with that behind David. Just kind of give him his room, try to fish along behind him.
That room that James Henderson speaks of is the room for David Fritz, obviously one of the most prominent names in bass fishing for several years now. And maybe it is a pretty good idea for James not to throw that crankbait. I mean, after all, David Fritz normally leaves very little when it comes to that style of fishing. He is one of the preeminent practitioners. These amateurs, I tell you what, they have got their hands full. They have to fish from the back of the boats. They have very little input into where they're going to fish, the style of fishing they're going to use. They're just really along for the ride, but hey, what a ride. Plus, many are extremely nervous. You know, they're fishing with people like David Wright, Denny Brower, David Fritz right here. But regardless of all these hardships, you have to remember they're not actually competing against that pro in the front of the boat. They're competing against the other amateurs. And today's winner will take home $15,000 on the amateur side. And today we'll be showing you that amateur winner. Do want to remind you about that. Plus, we'll get our 5 pro finalists.
Dang. Here he comes. God dang, what a fish. You ready?
Yeah.
You get the net under him. All right, get him, get him, get him.
All right, good fish.
Jeez, what a fish. Where's my pliers at?
Right there.
Well, you know, the whole deal is to get one of them to bite. That's the name of the game.
When you stop and think about $100,000, boy, that's a large chunk of change. But most anglers, I feel, when they get on the water, you don't even look at that part of it. You're concentrating on what your next move is. You're concentrating on that bite. So after you catch them, you start to think about that, and then you get nervous.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Johnson Fast Strike 150 with Ficht fuel injection. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Chevy Trucks. And by Stren, the most dependable fishing line in the world.
Get all that? Keeper number 1.
Well, there you see it. Denny Brower off to a quick start, perhaps setting the pace for this field here at the Forest Wood Open. This is an event that you know Jerry McInnes is not going to miss out on. He's here once again to help us understand what's going on. And Jerry, what a great field we have here assembled. So good. You look through the list here and you see guys like Zell Rowland, Guido Hibden, George Cochran, Tommy Biffle. They couldn't even crack the top 10.
Didn't even make it. Our leading points getter of the year, Peter T. couldn't even break the top 10.
It's an amazing, of course, a purse like that's going to attract a good field. Of course, this lake is an excellent lake as well. That's attracted some great fish.
You betcha. And these guys that are hitting the lake are all saying that those big dollars aren't affecting them at all. I don't believe that. I mean, I think they all have olives in their throat. But what a good lake to have this kind of an event on. Because it's such a challenging lake. These guys are going to catch fish on crankbaits. They're going to catch fish on Carolina rigs. There's even going to be a few fish caught on topwater baits. So there's a lot of different ways to catch the fish. And there's some tough conditions, too. We've had a little bit of a depression in this area.
The water has been falling. The Corps of Engineers have been letting the lake go up and down.
And 280 of the fishermen said those things hurt them. 20 guys took those things and used them to their advantage, and here they are still with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. There's one more like it. Type of fish we've been catching up here. Good start.
That was a good fish.
What we got here is this river was basically flooding 4 days ago. The water was about 5 foot higher. And I think it really discouraged a lot of the competitors from trying to find fish up here. It was almost impossible to fish, but they've got a tendency on this lake every time it rains to really start pulling water to get it back down to normal. And I felt they'd probably get it down to normal by the time the tournament started. And they did, and the water's cleared a little bit, so the fishing's actually been getting better each day, and I hope it continues. But as the water drops, the fish have got less places to get out of the current, so they're starting to group around these log jams, and gosh, this is exciting. It doesn't get much better than this. The bait I'm using is a bait we came out with earlier this year, and it's a Strike King Pro Model jig. I'm throwing it on a 3/8 ounce, and that's not a good idea, kids, to bite your line, but I'm throwing it on a 3/8 ounce head with a junior bowhog pork frog behind it in what we call a Texas crawl color, just a dynamite color for dirty water. Throwing it on 25-pound test, strand line, and just using a big old Daiwa flipping stick to horse them out of the cover. But the key is really getting it in there to those eddy spots where they don't have to fight the current. They're just waiting for the bait fish to kind of wash by. So.
A shallow little bar that sticks out right here in the old channel. The old creek channel swings right in here beside it, and of course they're dropping the lake, and it's just a prime spot for them to get on. It's been a while.
Well, Mike, Terry, Denny Brower, they all got their different ideas about how to go about winning this thing. And Mike's, there he is with a fish on.
Yeah, Tommy, Mike's big plan today was to get under that bridge.
Yeah.
That was
Job one has already been accomplished.
Hey, this is the first time he's been back in this water, because on the first, hey, that's a good fish for him to get started with, too. The first 2 days of the qualifying, the water was too high, and he couldn't get underneath that bridge. And he had known about a spot back in the back end of this creek that actually a friend from his home there in Tennessee had told him to go try. And so he's virtually in new waters right now fishing.
There you can see the hands of Mike's amateur partner there, Robert Mullins from Vinton, Virginia. Virginia is actually where they had all that rain that brought the lake up,
right.
And then they've had to pull it down. They hadn't had any rain down here in North Carolina.
Looks like Robert's about to score right now. They're both throwing a Carolina rig, and Tommy Mike had told me that he was fishing a Carolina rig with the rigging a little bit longer than normal. Usually it's about, maybe 4 or 5 foot long. As you can tell, theirs is almost 6 foot long. And he's got a brush pile out there that he's working on.
Back to the boat. That's Tony Gossett there. Bob Williams up in the front there. Bob the pro, and he's got another strike.
And differing from the last boat, these guys are fishing with a Texas rig, which is a slip sinker. Without the Carolina rig is just completely gone from this outfit, but they are down in the brush as well. These guys are all looking for brush.
I prefer Carolina rig, but I'm gonna give this a shot for a while, and I might have to pull out the old Carolina rig for long if I ain't comfortable doing this.
That's about the best hit I've had in 2 or 3 days. Pulled it over the limit.
I eat, partner.
Get the net on this one, partner. Here. I had a professional problem there.
Good job.
Thank you. That's a good fish there, Bubba.
Yeah, it is.
I did the old... Good God, what have I got?
Well, it's a little bit early to tell at this point, but Bob Williams looking good, 6.5 pounds. Remember, Denny Brower, 4.5 pounds. David Fritz, he's got 4 pounds as well. We got a good race going. Remember also, 4 boats that we're not seeing right now. Stay with us, a lot of competition on the way.
The name of this game is getting you 5 bites, getting them in the boat, getting you a limit. Then you got to decide whether you want to try to catch a few more and call or get you some good ones, or tomorrow is when it's going to be all out catching if you can make the top 5. Because you want to catch everything in a bite. My problem has been that I didn't catch them the first day. If I could have got me a good bite, one good bite the first day, I wouldn't have had to caught as many yesterday. And, you know, I'm using up a lot of my fish. I don't know if I'm going to have, you know, who knows if we're going to have enough to last another day or not. So, you know, you got to make the top 5. That's the thing. So, you know, I'm shooting for 15 pounds a day.
Back to our 2 top qualifiers from day number 2, Joel Richardson and Brian Kingsley. That looks like a fish there for Joel Richardson. And Jerry, we talk about the FLW Tour being the next generation. These 2 guys are part of what we're talking about right here.
Aren't they perfect examples? Brian there, the amateur in the back of the boat's 21-year-old youngster from Kansas University. And matter of fact, he's over here with his father, Cecil, who also competes in lots of Hey, Brian's done pretty well, not only in this tournament, but he's been in several, on the amateur side, several BASS tournaments, and he's just done a pretty good job.
Boy. Where's he at? Where's he at? Oh, there's no, come on. Just pull him up here. You ain't gonna lose him. He's stuck, man.
I couldn't tell where the hook was in his mouth.
Where's he at? You got a leader that long on there?
All right.
There you go.
For some reason, I tied a leader on long earlier.
Good fish, partner.
Thank you. And
I believe we got us a little group of them here.
I tied a leader on, and I mistakenly got it a little bit too long.
Yeah?
And for some reason, I started catching a lot of fish doing it, and if it isn't broke, don't fix it kind of deal. Got one?
I had something. I don't know what it is.
Tommy,
I got somebody else's bait.
Switched from a crankbait to a plastic worm, as you can see right here. And that's pretty standard. A lot of these fishermen are fishing crankbait for a little while and switching back to a worm rig, Carolina rig, back and forth. And at one time, one will do a little bit better than the other.
That's a good way to start it. About a 3.5, 4 pounder.
I got close to 100 pounds. I have got now. Thank you, sir.
Oh, buddy.
There's a good one.
Yes, sir. What you been looking for right there?
Once you find their address, it seems like there's a few more of them either there or a few more of them move in and take the same spot. There's apparently ideal feeding spots in this current. And when you take one fish out of one of them ideal spots, I think another one just takes his place. And ideal places for them to ambush bait fish. We are seeing a lot of bait that's hanging behind out of the current, and that's what these fish are feeding on, apparently.
Leaving Denny Brower there, he seems pretty secure in his place at the moment, and Mike Terry is getting himself a little security going right here, Jerry.
Yeah, and Mike, and we talked earlier how he's fishing a Carolina rig. Mike's normally a crankbait fisherman. He's from over on Kentucky Lake, grew up fishing crankbaits. He's one fisherman that is not switching back and forth from a crankbait to a worm and back and forth. He is hanging right in there with the worm, and you can tell by the by the bank there that he's in the same area here. He's got several places like this to fish, but he's doing really well in this one place and is hanging right in there.
Cool. Good fish. Good fish.
Watch that motor.
Good fish. Over here. Over here.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Easy. He's a good one. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Got a big one.
He's a good one. I'll tell you that. Either that or he's the meanest little fella.
And I'll get him right here. I don't
Either that or he's the meanest little fella I ever had on.
Go around if you have to. Easy, you get it. That's a big one. I hate to go after him, I don't see him.
Don't do it.
All right. Got him. That's a haul. Way to go, buddy. He's pumped.
Man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's what it's all about.
Oh.
That is a nice fish. Won't kiss him, will you?
Oh, man. Thank you, partner.
No problem, buddy. You got it. You on your way, son.
At a place called Palmer Creek, we have located Mike Terry and his amateur partner, Robert Mullins. Mike Terry with 2 good fish so far. Robert Mullins, 3 fish in the box. Guys, sounds like it's maybe going pretty good for you this morning so far.
Yeah, you know, I can't complain, but, you know, I've had a little bit of misfortune. I let one about 3.5 break off right by the boat, which is totally my fault, and I've missed a few, and I broke one off here just a minute ago. You know, they get you down in these rocks, and they'll break you off before you have a chance to get them out of them. We're fishing a place here. It's a rock pile out here. It comes up to about 10 feet on top, and it's got 15 feet all around it, and the fish just move up and down on it. And this is a spot both days where I've caught my 2 biggest fish.
Robert, what do you think your total weight is?
Oh, I just got the one good fish. I've got a couple that's just 14 inches. I probably got 8 or 9 pound total right now.
Kind of talk us through a cast, or if you're already in the water, kind of tell us in your mind what you envision happening down there on the bottom with your lure.
Well, I'm throwing an ounce sinker and an 8-inch needle worm made by V&M, same people that's furnishing Mike the lizards. And I'm just mainly dragging it and bouncing it off of these rocks. And it's pretty hard to keep from getting hung, but if you can stay loose, you can really get bit on it. I've been getting a lot of bites on it for the last 3 weeks down here. It's worked real well for me, and it's still working today.
Jerry, is this the kind of spot that can work for them all day long, or is it going to play out as the sun gets higher?
Well, no, they're in a depth of water where there could be fish move up in that place at any time, you know. And we haven't even asked him this, but I'm sure he's got a couple more like that. And if they're in the same area, you know, I'm sure he'll just be bouncing back and forth.
Hey, he got a little tough on me yesterday. That noonday bite did. It just, which was.
There's one. Let's keep. That's good fish. Good fish. Oh, baby. Here, we'll get him over here.
I got you. Oh, I can't do it. Not like that.
Got him.
I got you
Thank
now.
You, sir.
I got you now.
Got my lizards and all.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Nice fish. 3.
Nice fish.
This is probably, without a doubt, the best lake in North Carolina and Virginia. Even though there are some other good lakes, this is the best one.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Ficht Fuel Injection, the best of all worlds. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Chevy Trucks. And by Stren, the most dependable fishing line in the world.
Back at the Forest Wood Open from Lake Kerr in North Carolina, Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McInnes. This is day 3 action.
people that don't think fishing is hard work. Try going 6 days in a row, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting in it dark.
That's the face of Anthony Gossett Jr., one of our amateur competitors trying to go for the win here today. His pro partner up in the front of the boat, Bob Williams Jr., made that statement. I don't think he's going to have a lot of sympathy from a lot of our viewers.
I've got probably the best wife in the world. The first day of this tournament, I broke 2 rods setting the hook, both of them on fish. I told my wife I use All-Star fishing rods, so she called All-Star up, found out where the closest All-Star dealers were, and found me 2 All-Star rods about 50 miles from Rocky Mount, went and bought the 2 rods and brought them up here to me. So she's pretty special. These fish I've been catching, mostly what you catch is 1 3/4 pounds, 2 pounds and a quarter, with occasional 3-pounder. I had 2 3-pounders yesterday. The first day of the tournament, I had a 4.5-pounder. My partner's got one right there.
It's good fish. Good fish. I'm in it.
Big fish. That's a big fish, fellas. That's a 4 or 5-pounder here.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Just take your time, partner. You get. How about a 6
Thank you,
How about a
partner.
6-pounder?
That makes you feel good there, boys.
How about that, buddy?
Thank you a lot.
That's about a 6-pounder.
Thank you, partner.
What you good, buddy? Y'all.
That's what it's all about.
That's a heck of a fish there now.
That gets your heart racing.
That probably will be the lunker in the amateur division today. Let it go, partner. That catches you up in a hurry, then.
Yes, sir. It might win the tournament for me. I don't know. It's hard to say.
If he can get a little something to go with that fish,
that was my
it'll be
3rd
hard to
fish.
handle.
If I can get 2 more fish in the boat, it's going to be interesting.
That's one of the goals I have, is a limit and a kicker, and he's got that kicker now.
Tony Gossett Jr. a little closer in his bid for the championship. They're going to award the amateur crown today here at Carr Lake. The sun is high in the sky, and these guys are moving around, and that's been their strategy, to do a lot of moving around. It's a strategy that appears to be paying off quite well. You're watching the FLW Tour, and of course our camera guys are struggling valiantly to keep up with this pair, Bob Williams and Anthony Gossett. Look at them go there. I think they're going to make it. Let's get back out to David Fritz.
Let's get serious, Tom.
You know, David Fritz is. You
know our camera guys wouldn't paddle that hard.
No, that's, yeah, seriously, you're right.
David is, you know, I don't want to say he's coasting. He is, and he's working hard, but I think he's got enough fish now to get into the finals.
I had to make the move. That place where I was just at will absolutely kill you if you'll let it.
And what he's referring to there is the fact that that place is a good place, and you have to know when to leave it.
I was all, did you see me? I was all but hunting. Now that's pausing the bait. You see me do that?
I saw that.
You got first-hand experience of pausing a crankbait. You know, winning tournaments is made by making decisions on the water. I don't care what anybody says. You got to know where they're at. You got to know how to catch them. But those decisions are the key thing. And, you know, where we was at this morning, the fish this whip absolutely was not on. I mean, it just, even though I caught a couple good fish, I mean, we fished a lot and didn't catch any. And, you know, what fishermen need to try to realize is, you know, when they're not getting bites, they need to keep moving. They don't need to just stay there and beat and beat and beat. Keep moving around, and till you figure out what they're doing. A lot of times changing locations on the lake. You know, just like we done, we made a long run here, and, you know, pull up, catch 2 fish. And, you know, the fish are a little smaller, and they are some good fish in this area. But the thing is making that move instead of staying and beating and beating and beating, not getting any bites.
Yeah, I tell you, I thought, there you go, he's got one.
And really, you can't. Come on, baby, please be a keeper.
Put him in the boat. Let it go, partner.
Yes. Yes.
Son, you gonna win that money. I can see it now.
All right.
Keep partner.
Get on in there. Y'all look alive.
That was a good keeper, partner.
Yep, need one more of those. Be right.
When you're fishing for $100,000, you can't treat it no more than any other tournament anymore, any other big tournament, because if you start thinking about the money and start thinking about, you know, winning the Open, the FLW Open, then you're gonna start messing up. You're gonna get going too fast, and you know, the thing to do is just go out there and fish and just try to do the best you can. If you catch them, you do. If you don't, go home. So
That camera's got me more nervous than the money. I'm used to not having any money, and I ain't used to having the camera in my face.
Day 3 of the Forest Wood Open rolls along. Let's go out now on the lake and talk to Denny Brower, his amateur partner of Zoom Lizard fame, Ed Chambers.
That one'll work. Yes, sir. Ka-chunk, we go fishing tomorrow. Yeah, we can call with him.
Oh. Hey, Denny, what's the watercolor like where you're fishing?
area I'm fishing is trying to clear. It's real muddy, but yet it's kind of rolling. It's got
that clearing effect to it, and it varies from pocket to pocket as you go along, but overall I'd consider it muddy.
Well, everyone has said that this dropping water was going to chase the fish off the banks, but obviously all of them haven't left the banks.
Well, the area I'm fishing, Jerry, is a little bit different. It's pulling them out of the willow trees, but it's putting them on the hardwood that's laying next to the current. And so it's kind of an advantage for me up here to have the dropping water.
Ed, were you prepared to do the kind of fishing that Denny is doing today?
No way.
I'm really enjoying myself, though. It's quite a show, I tell you that.
Would you talk us through one of your casts, one of your flips, Denny? Tell us exactly what's happening.
Absolutely, Jerry. I think it's very important to
be using the right equipment and using the right technique. And when we're fishing this heavy cover, I always stick with a 7.5-foot Daiwa rod with a Daiwa reel, high retrieve ratio. I have the bait about even with my reel, and I just make an underhand pitch so it lands real soft right in the cover. And I let the bait fall on a slack line until it hits bottom, and then I just raise up real easy. If nothing's hit it while it's falling, pump it a couple times, bring it back in,
and drop it back into the thickest part of the cover you can find. That's usually where the fish are laying.
Hey, and you kind of quickly passed over the high ratio reel, and maybe someone wouldn't realize how important that is.
Well, it's very important because
usually when we're fishing this way, Jerry, our boat's in deeper water than what the fish are in. And when they take a bait, a lot of times they want to run towards deeper water, which means they're coming back at you. And that high-speed reel allows you to take up your slack line and get a little better hook set. And plus, if you're not getting any bites in a particular target, you can get your bait in a hurry and get it to the next spot. So in a tournament, it makes you a little bit more efficient.
Hey, well, Denny, you know, I know you was telling us yesterday evening that the money wasn't bothering you at all in this tournament, but I did want to tell you that the missus is in our audience here and has just come from the mall, so I would get a little more serious if I was you.
In other words, what you're saying, Jerry, she's quit pre-shopping and she's doing the real thing now?
When she found out you had 3 fish this morning early, she was out of here.
Uh-oh. I better crank it up.
As if Denny Brower needs another reason to fish hard. He's going to fish hard anyway, as is this guy. Super competitive fisherman. We're getting to know him better. Mike Terry from Obion, Tennessee.
Another one of those young generation fishermen, Tommy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You got that bite. That's a good fish.
But don't lose him.
Where you want me? Where you coming to?
Right here.
I'm
Let's
here.
just get him.
I'm here.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Yes. Fish
I'm here.
You are my man. Fish's mouth, look at his mouth there. Somebody's caught this one. Now you're mine, buddy. In the box. That's 3. Number four nice ones.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
I got pumped now, boy. Hey. Yes, sir.
Go on there.
Is it big?
If I don't lose him. He got me before I knowed what was going on, and I never got a good hook set.
Okay. Let's just get him to the boat. He'll get it. He got it.
Here he comes. Well, if he's the keeper, he'll help me.
Yep. It is. That's keeper.
He was flying, see?
Yep.
He hit me on the pull, and I couldn't tell what I had.
Well, that's Robert Mullins with 4 fish, 9 pounds, and you're looking right now at his closest amateur competitor, Anthony Gossett. He's got 3 fish, 9 pounds in the boat as well. Anthony and Robert Mullins squaring off to what promises to be a great battle for the amateur championship.
Matter of fact, right there is my brother right over there. I guess he wants to know what I got.
Show him that big fish.
I'm afraid I'll lose it.
That's your brother over there?
Yeah, he's one on the back of the boat. And
hey, you're looking at the winner.
yeah. And, oh, man. Yeah, he'll do. We started out this morning, me and a friend of mine, Jason Henson. We started fishing just to go fishing, and we keep seeing these boats, all these boats follow this one boat around, and we was like, I wonder what they're doing. So we was kind of close to them, so we just pulled over to see what was going on. And this other boat said that the guy in the back, the amateur's doing real good. And I got to looking close. And I said, well, that's my brother Tony. And so we got a little bit closer in, sure enough, it was him. And kind of found out he had a pretty good sack. And since then, I've not been able to fish or nothing. I didn't know what to do.
Boy, the amateur side of this competition has certainly got interesting.
Absolutely. Anthony Gossett and Robert Mullins neck and neck here on Lake Kerr in North Carolina. You're watching the Forest Wood Open. Back out to David Fritz, who's got 4 fish, looking for his 5th. This could be the limit. Well,
wait a minute.
Hey, well, hold on just a second. A double.
Is that legal?
Hey, that's the limit and the kicker that everybody's looking for, all in the same cast. Tommy Sanders and Jerry McInnes with you here at the Forest Wood Open here on the FLW Tour. The pros are fishing for the top 5 spots here on day 3. Mike Terry's got 13.5 pounds. David Fritz with 8.5. Denny Brower, 15 pounds, and a whole host of fishermen we're not able to see here.
And our $100,000 winner amongst the 5 pros that qualify won't show up until next Sunday, so you be sure and be watching for that. We're going to find out an amateur winner in just a minute here.
Another team that's been having some good success, early success, just like Denny Brower with the Lizard, are Bob Williams and Anthony Gossett. Bob and Anthony, some good fish early on, but you're still looking for the big one, right?
Yep. I need a 3-pounder is all I need. I just caught a 3-pounder and culled one about 2.
You know, hey, Bob, you don't have the problem of wanting that one fish so badly that you're fishing too fast, are you? Do you have to kind of put the brakes on every now and then?
Well, usually after I get a limit, I slow down and start fishing a whole lot better.
That's happened to me this morning, but then my partner caught a 6-pounder and it made me speed up again.
Hey, well, to be perfectly honest, Bob, hearing about that 6-pounder, we don't want to talk to you anymore. We want to talk to Anthony.
Okay.
Anthony, congratulations. You got to feel good about a 6-pounder, and you do have a limit, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I have a limit, and I got my kicker, so I'm still trying to get a couple of the little ones caught out. And
would you give us an estimate on the size of your stringer right now, Anthony? What you estimate it to be?
About 14 pounds or so, maybe.
14 pounds. You think that's good enough to do it?
I don't know.
Anthony, now be honest with me now. Have you started figuring what you might do if you win that money?
Well, I have it in the back of my head. I'm trying to get that out of my mind.
I don't want to spend it before I got it.
Bob, let me ask you one more question. You guys are here in that Bush Creek, not too far from the weigh-in site.
How much longer are you able to fish before you have to head back to the weigh-in?
We're not but about
We're probably 2 miles, but we're fishing that way. I'm going to end up about, probably about 400 yards away from the land in my last stop.
How many of these spots do you think you have, Bob? Of these sunken
areas that are very productive?
I fished probably 40 spots today. I have about 50 or 60. I'm trying to hit the best ones.
Well, Tommy, they'll maybe let him stay out another hour and a half where he can
That's
hit all
right.
his
Hit
spots.
all 60. We should let them go on and fish. They've got a little time, and we'll let them maximize it. That is Bob Williams and Anthony Gossett, 2 limits of fish. Lots of guys looking good out there right now.
Well said.
You really can't tell at this point who's gonna make it to the top 5, and of course who our amateur champion is going to be.
I'll get you back up here where that fish came from. Oh gosh, hit him, baby. Yes, yes, sir. I believe you'll keep. I believe you'll keep. Gonna be close.
No, he'll keep. Oh, he'll keep.
Yes.
I believe he will. He's not going to.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you, partner.
I hope he goes. Because he goes, we go.
Well, he'll go, I think. I ain't getting no weight, but I'm getting the limit anyway.
Right. Yeah, he'll go.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll go. I've got one in there. I'm more than that in the aim.
Oh, yeah, he's
Relax,
15.
baby.
Here you go. God. Go.
Yeah, here
he goes. Easy. That's it. Go ahead and get back over there and let's go.
Looks like they're going to go, and it is time to go. Fishing time is over here on Kerr Lake. And what an amateur contest we have going on right here. We see Robert Mullins there just completing his limit of fish. Anthony Gossett also with the limit of fish. They're checking in now. Just got to head to the tent for the big weigh-in, and that's coming up next. And absolutely packed to the rafters house here at the weigh-in for the Forest Wood Open day number 3. We're going to crown our amateur champion here. We're close to Henderson, North Carolina, and the crowd has turned out to see some amazing stringers of fish. One of them wielded by this man here, Tony Gossett Jr. We met his brother out there on the water. He is fishing for the amateur championship today, and boy, I tell you what, we're just going to have to see. We know that Robert Mullins has a limit as well, and Tony's limit is looking good.
5 fish, all 5 of these are live, and the weight for Tony Gossett, 12 pounds, 12 ounces, 12-12.
There you see it, 12-12 is the number to beat for the amateur championship. And here's the guy who could beat it right there, Robert Mullins. Robert is from Benton, Virginia. He's been fishing out there with Mike Terry in the Palmer Creek area. We'll just see if he can beat that number.
What do you think? Can you do the 12-12?
I don't know.
Any ideas?
I hope so.
Well, if you were just a guessman, would you take a guess, say, yeah, I can do it, or no, it's going to be a little light?
It's going to be a little light.
A little light. Tony says it's going to be just a little bit light. Tony's down there sweating bullets.
Well, it might not be light.
Well, let's put him on there and check. Let's find out and see. 5 fish, all 5 of the live in the weight. 12 pounds, 2 ounces. Good enough for second place. Good enough for second place.
Well, here's the guy who fished in the front of the boat with Robert Mullins all day long. Mike Terry of Obion, Tennessee, 15 pounds and 3 ounces. He just managed to squeak in, along with some other good anglers in our top 5, like David Wright from Lexington, North Carolina.
How many fish did you catch today?
Well, I don't know. You know how fishermen are. You get to catching them, and if you really would write them down, you probably didn't catch as many as you think you did. And, you know, I think I probably caught 20 keepers, but I might not have. Might have been 15.
Bill, was it 15 or 20? At least 20, 25. Higher, 30, 35, 30. At least, between 25 and 30, your partner says. Let's give him a big hand. David Wright from Lexington, North Carolina. Now, coming in, let's welcome, please, Travis Stevenson. Travis Stevenson from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Well, Travis Stevenson, another one of the anglers who put on a superb show out here on Kerr Lake today, managed to get 16 pounds, 4 ounces. The former North Carolina Tar Heel basketballer makes it into the field of 5, along with this man, David Fritz from Lexington, North Carolina. You saw him complete his limit and more out there today. So we have our 4 anglers, Stevenson, Fritz, David Wright, and Mike Terry. We're going to take a break, come back in just a minute, and see if Denny Brower can make it into the field as well.
The FLW Tour was brought to you by Evinrude Intruder 150 with Ficht fuel injection. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Chevy Trucks. And by Stren, the most dependable fishing line in the world.
And his weight, a new leader, 18 pounds and 5 ounces, 18.5.
Impressive total there for Denny Brower of Camdenton, Missouri, serving notice that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with among these 5 anglers who will fish for the championship.
Before we talk fishing here just a minute, we've got a video clip we'd like to show. Let's look right here.
Now,
That was the last fish I caught, and I didn't really know whether I should have went to him or not, but when I was sitting out there in line and I kept hearing these 15, 16-pound stringers, I was real glad I went and caught that fish.
That one there did make the difference. You're guaranteed top 5 tomorrow. Again, evidently you didn't want to stay up there too long, but have you got enough fish there to take it all tomorrow to win the $100,000 first place prize?
You don't know when you're out. This is such a great lake. A lot of fisheries, you run cover like what I'm running in this tournament, and once you take a fish out of there, that's it. But it just seems like you take one out and 2 more move in. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to be fun.
Indeed it will. Denny Brower rounds out the field of 5 who will fish for the championship next week right here on the FLW Tour. And now our amateur champion today, Tony Gossett.
When I first started this morning, I was used to dragging lizard with a Carolina rig, and then I got to, working it through cover with a Texas rig, and it kind of, it was hard. I kept dragging it, getting hung up, and my partner told me, man, just settle down, just work it through the cover, He kept me calm.
And this fish right here is what anchored that 12-pound, 12-ounce stringer. Hold him up. Look what a fish. What a beautiful, beautiful fish. That is a tremendous, tremendous Kerr Lake, Bugs Island, Carr Lake, largemouth bass. And you did a good job of that. Any problem getting her in at all?
No, not too bad.
Piece of cake, never nervous, never...
I wouldn't say that. I was a little nervous.
$15,000 in cash. Would that be your largest tournament win?
Yeah, most definitely. It's hard to imagine. It ain't sunk in yet. It'll hit me when I got about a 2-hour ride home, so I got time to think about it.
Let's give a big hand. Tony Gossett again from Oak Ridge, North Carolina. 12 pounds, 12 ounces.
How about a 6
Thank you, partner.
6 pounder?
That makes you feel good there, boys.
How about that, buddy?
Thank you a lot.
That's about a 6 pounder.